Today something funny happened. Like I went to the sake shop in Kanagawa, like a little bit. It's not even like 20 miles away from where I live. It might be 20 at the most. But like I go out, see this old lady. She looks at me. I look at her, and then she said, "Oh, Brackman." And I look at her, and I like throw up the piece. I was like, "Yeah." And she throws up the piece like, "Oh." She had like her hair like kind of permed, and she had an afro on her head. It was crazy.
Yeah, Japan is unique like that. I would say, like, I think I don't know, yeah, the numbers, but I would say Japan has a lot of people who like black people in like this weird way, you know.
It wasn't like it was like a positive situation, but it was just funny the way she said everything. Like like the way people interact with me on a day to day, like more so recently, it's just like been hilarious.
Yeah, like the
There.
like last
But
night.
uh, like talking about Kanye West and shit.
Yeah, but could you tell us? Yeah, because I've been watching a lot of videos like people, black artists, especially from America, living in Japan and their experience. And I just made this comparison with China, where otherwise we don't have this amount of people, like, of creative people, regardless of the race, living here. And Japan is such a unique country in this regard. So yeah, Ziri, could you tell us about a little bit about your experience and why did you even move to Japan? That's the first question.
I mean, my my family's like come to Japan before, so like before me, 2 generations ago. Like, let me think, 70, about 70 years ago. Like my grandfather came to Japan.
Mhm.
Uh, he wrote about it in one of his books. Like he used to write a lot. He was a minister, and he spoke highly of the Japanese people, and there are other people that he worked with that that were also ministers and people in the community of his era, and like joining the Air Force, and, like forging his like self identification and lying about his age to get into the army. He watched all these American movies about cowboys and
Mhm.
Indians and John Waynes and all these like movie star heroes. And he started imagining that, hey, I'm a cowboy. Like little did he know, like we're actually the Indians, like the Indians, the Native American people. So people were back then they would go to a movie and they get all the way brainwashed, and then they'll jump on a plane and then put on the uniform and then like fight for you know whatever purpose. Like they think that it's for America, they think it's for themselves, and it's gonna put their life forward and then give them opportunity. But living in starting in Virginia, it's a beautiful place. I was like well connected to New York. I made really frequent trips up and down the coast, DC. Stopping off, driving up and down, biking every
Mhm.
city. But from being in America, being in Virginia, dealing with that certain specific societal tension and then pressure, like at all times, and knowing that there's like other places in the world, and just learning Japanese and having my grandfather as a role model who already did it and made it possible, and seeing
Mhm.
that it was possible, I just kind of it's like a family tradition. Like
Wow.
he wanted to live here, so he asked his superiors in the army and during the Korean War if he could, go to American village that they built and stay in Japan and live his life because that was the first time his skin was jet black. Like he's darker than me by many, many shades. So, we mostly look the same, but growing up in Virginia, he had witnessed so much abuse of black people and so many people like trying to like attack his mother, attack his family, like his family and grandmother going through like pain and like his grandmother burned up in her house like while he was out
Oh,
like fighting in the war and he felt suicidal. And while he was in Japan, he felt that was the first time as a human being people were kind to him, like without all the weight of like this racism thing, without all this like, negative campaign about, you know, black people are this, black people are that. There were definitely soldiers and people who were in Japan when he was in Japan and would tell the Japanese people like if you touch their skin it'll rub off on you and your hands will be black and people made up a lot of like legends about black people but people just when they meet people regardless of race regardless of all those outside factors people have decency and like to feel that or like feel some aspect of that culture and have peace and be able to like learn from people here and to look at their struggle, look at their history, surviving two bombs with the force of 20,000 tons of TNT dropped on two of their cities. Little boy and fat man, they named the two
yeah.
missiles. They dropped twice on them and Japan always found a way to build back up and the Japanese people have made so much progress and created and innovated so many processes that it's insane for America to not look back and say, where did we get lazy? Like,
Yeah.
where did we start this shit
Yeah.
and then y'all motherfuckers took it over and made it better? Like, where do we keep dropping the ball and dropping the ball? And it's like, kind of that aspect of the over rampant individualism in America to an extent, and then everybody they want to like get the benefits of shit, but they don't want to, you know, go through the trials and tribulations, and then just a constant generational um, disruption of the black communities and like minorities, and specifically black people in America who are descendants of slaves. Like it's a system that's based on putting people in this economic situation where they have to hustle, they have to do something that breaks the law for them to live a decent life, knowing that the labor that we have put into the world and the things that we contributed to help everybody, but there hasn't been a time or place or people who have ever like compensated like that work, and it made Europe 1,000 times richer than when they started. So once you put people 1,000 times richer, and then other people don't have like basic like food, shelter, clothing, then you put drugs in the community, you put guns in the community, you put disease in the community, and you know you're gonna get a bad situation. But they changed the laws, especially in the 90s, 80s. Like people like us, that just were free thinkers and people who had like some knowledge and came to other people, especially people within our community on a respect level. Like you would just see like, all right, the drug thing is $1 billion business.
Mhm.
So we don't have jobs, and like if we get jobs, they're gonna be racist to us, whether we're in New York or whether we're in Mississippi. Like usually people are gonna try to like flex their nuts on you, but
Mhm.
it's easier to work with and for like one yourself and in cooperation with other people who have like similar values and goals or similar piece. It's easier to work with those people than work for people who don't want you to have a decent life. They just want to keep their business running at the cheapest price they can for the longest time.